And I talked to him because his father was a dear friend of mine. His father's gone on. And I was asking him what he was doing. And I remember how he told me he was disabled. And he had lost his wife, which I guess I'd heard but forgotten. 2 nights ago, he lay down and thought he was going to wake up the next morning and didn't wake up. They're doing an autopsy to see what happened to him. He looked like he was a picture of health when he was talking to me. Nothing wrong. Nothing's happening. He's gone. In an hour, in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh.
That's right.
Amen. We don't know what the next hour holds.
Amen.
So that's why the Bible admonishes us to be all ye also. Be ye also ready. Amen. Likewise, in addition to, be ye also ready in such an hour as you think not.
That's right.
He's there.
That's right.
Amen.
And we're gone. That's why it's so important to think what I'm going to do in the next hour.
That's right.
Amen. In several places we have reference to the fact that an hour of God's visitation is not known to men. Hence it is very important that we watch and be ready and watchful every hour, not just 1 hour, every hour.
That's right.
Amen. Listen to the Master's word in Matthew 24 and 44. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. Also in addition it says in verse 42, watch therefore, for you know not what hour the Lord doth come.
That's right.
Watch and therefore and be ready. This is why it's so important to be ready, to be saved. We do not know. A lot of people have gone out of this world in eternity while this service here was taking place.
Amen.
Right.
I read years ago, it said 90 people die every day. 900 people, I believe, or 9,000 people, I don't remember now. It was quite a number. It's been years ago that I read this. Every moment people are passing out of this life. So that's why the Bible admonishes us, be ye also ready in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. And the next verse here said, then he said, but know this, that if the good man, or the owner of the house, had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Dear ones, you are the owner of your house.
Amen.
Your soul.
Amen.
You are the owner of your soul. And it is your soul, and my soul is going to eternity. Whether it's in this hour, or the next hour, or whatever, we're going to eternity.
Amen.
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 So therefore we told him, watch and pray and be ready to go when the hour comes. Yes, dear hearts, we're going to go. Yes, we're going to leave here. That's why the hour is so important. This very hour is so important. That you are sitting in that. It's important to you. And the most important thing about it is you have an eternity-bound soul in this body of clay. This house of clay. And it's going to inhabit eternity in a heaven or a hell.
Amen.
Don't you listen to this trash about there ain't no hell. That was hashed out of hell itself.
That's right.
Just as sure as you're sitting here this morning and there is a heaven, a place of bliss and happiness, there is one opposite.
That's right.
Amen. That's true.
Behold the goodness and the severity of God.
Amen.
There's two sides.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
And we're going to one of the two.
That's right.
And if we're not prepared, we're going to that awful place that you don't even want to think about.
That's right.
I told this before, I'll tell it again this morning. I remember as a boy, I was brought up in a church of God home. My father was a preacher and my mother was a godly woman. And I was taught from the basics of salvation as long back as I can remember. And the two different places that were made for us to be after death. And one night I dreamed I died and went to heaven. And all the thoughts that came back to my mind is those that I put off. I just put it off and put it off and put it off. I was not an old boy. Not even in my teens probably. But I had, every time I was ever in a service in my life, God dealt with me. He brought conviction upon me. As far back as I can remember. I don't know if He did that with everybody. But for some reason, I couldn't sit in a service without getting under conviction as a boy. And I was rolling and tumbling and saying to myself, you're a fool. You had an opportunity and you rejected it. You're a fool. And for some reason, I was awoke. And oh, when I realized I was not there and I was still able to make a choice and a decision, I could have shouted with joy. I've still got an opportunity. But you know, humanity is a peculiar thing. I put it off. In fact, I wouldn't hardly go to church after that for a long time because I knew how that feeling would come to me. That condemnation, that being condemned. But one time the Lord dealt with me and He as much as said, you better take heed. For my spirit will not always strive with you.
Amen. That's right.
That's a serious thought.
Amen.
So within that 1 hour, I gave my heart to the Lord. Be ye also ready in such hours you think not. The Son of Man cometh. And the Bible speaks of another place. It talks about 10 virgins. That's found in Matthew 25, if you want to turn to. 10 virgins. And it says 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. When they went to the house of prayer, they took all of their lamps. In other words, they had their experience up to date.
Yep.
They were happy. But there were 5 more that went to the same tabernacle who had no oil.
Amen.
The oil of salvation had seeped out. They had the lamp, the form, but they didn't have the oil.
That's right.
Amen.
That's serious. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
People talking about you can't backslide. They need to read the Bible.
That's right.
Amen.
Don't listen to some foolish person that's standing up behind the pulpit and he's supposed to be telling the truth. It's not telling the truth. You need to read the Bible.
Amen.
The Bible talks about them at Berea. They were more noble because they studied the Scriptures daily.
That's right.
They've seen about it. And we need to be aware of it. And we can read for ourselves and find out
Amen.
what it means. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The wise were ready to go, but the foolish was not.
Amen.
And at midnight, they heard the knock at the door. The bride, behold, the bridegroom cometh.
Amen.
At that hour, come on.
That's right.
Midnight, at that hour.
Yes.
And they rose up, and all of them simultaneously trimmed their wicks. And the light that had oil in it began to glow. And the others said, oh, our oil is leaked out. Give us some of your oil. Give us some of your oil. Oh, no, we can't. We just do have enough for ourselves.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
My. Just do have enough. You go to them and have to sell and buy. Amen. And then come again. And they left. And while they were gone, behold, the bridegroom came in.
Yes.
In that hour, come on.
Yes.
Amen.
In that hour.
Amen.
And they found themselves without.
That's right.
Now the Bible says 5 and 5. I don't believe the percentage is quite that way today. It may be 5 ready and it may be 10,000 not ready.
That's right. Yes.
Amen. People are not